There are days when the sun rises, but it doesn't mean anything. Just another light I couldn't chase. I lay in that hospital bed, my body broken, my spirit shattered. Each morning, nurses tended me, wiped me, fed me. I was a spectator in my own story. Then, one afternoon, a sound, not the beep of machines, not the rustles of sheets, but a voice, gentle, warm, strong, reading from a book. It was her, the girl who never left. My friend, my anchor, I know you are in there, she whispered. I wanted to cry, I wanted to scream, but all I could do was blink. And she noticed. You blinked, she smiled. In that moment, she gave me something no doctor could. She gave me hope. She kept coming every day with stories, with laughter, with dreams she hadn't given up on, even when I had. Some nights, she would sit beside me and talk for hours. She told me about the world outside, the seasons, the stars. She painted it all with words so vivid, I could almost feel the sun on my skin again. One day, she placed my hand in hers, and for the first time in weeks, I felt something. Not movement, but connection, and I squeezed. She gasped. You are still here, she cried. That night, I didn't beg to walk. I didn't plead to run. I just whispered in my heart, thank you for hearing me. The first time they stood me up, I thought I was dreaming. They held me on both sides, one hand gripping a walker, legs shaking, arms trembling, but I stood. It wasn't for long, a few seconds maybe. Then the world spun. They caught me, lowered me back into the chair, but I had stood. That evening, I stared at my legs, those strangers I once called mine. I whispered to them, let's try again. Rehab became my new life. Every day I fought against pain, against fear. They strapped braces to my knees, taught me how to balance again. Walking was no longer automatic. It was a decision. Every step a battle plan. My hands developed blisters from the bars. My arms ached. My back cried for mercy. But inside me a spark had ignited. One day, I made it from one end of the wall to the other, and I wept. They clapped. I didn't hear them. I was too busy hearing that tiny voice in my soul that whispered, you are coming back. She visited me that evening, brought my favorite juice, smiled the way only she could. I saw the video, she said. You were flying. We laughed. I cried again. Because in that moment, I realized something. This wasn't just about walking. It was about reclaiming every piece that illness tried to steal. That night, I stood by the window, leaning on my crutches, watching the moon. I didn't feel broken. I didn't feel cursed. I felt alive. And for the first time in forever, I believed. Believed that something greater was waiting beyond the pain. Something worth crawling toward until I could walk again. There is something scarier than losing your legs. It's losing your chance. She was sitting beside the garden fountain, reading. I rolled toward her, my hands sweating, heart in overdrive. Hey, I said. She smiled. I paused, froze, then took a breath. Can I ask you something? She looked up, eyes full of patience. Always, she said. I swallowed. Why did you stay through all of it? She blinked, looked away for a second, then back at me. Because you were still you. Even when you couldn't see it, I could. My eyes burned. I clenched my fist on the wheels. Would you ever consider? I stopped. The words stuck. Yes, she whispered. Yes, what? I asked. Yes, to whatever you are trying to say, she said. I chuckled, nervous, relieved, alive. She leaned forward. Let's take it slow, she said. And that was when I knew this wasn't just about healing my body. It was about being brave enough to open my heart again. In therapy that week, I told the counselor, I'm not just fighting to walk again, I'm learning to be seen again. He nodded. Let yourself be, he said. So did I. We went on a short stroll around the courtyard. Her walking, me willing. She told me her dreams and I shared mine. Not the old dreams, new ones, rooted in reality, blooming with hope. And in that gentle garden, under trees older than both of us, I asked the scariest question of all. Would you still love me if I never walk again? She didn't hesitate. I already do, she said, smiling and squeezing my hand. The silence in their living room was heavy. Not the comfortable quiet of home, like the air before a storm. Her father sat across from me, his posture rigid. He clasped his hands tightly. Her mother beside him kept her gaze fixed on the intricate pattern of the rug. Refusing to meet my eyes, she held my hand. Her grip a silent promise, yet I could feel the tremor in her fingers, bracing for what was to come. Her father finally spoke. His voice measured, almost regretful but with an understanding edge. Son, he began, the word feeling foreign from his lips. You know we care for her deeply, he paused, his eyes finally lifting to mine. And in them I saw not malice, but a protective weariness. But what exactly is your intention here? He asked. I swallowed, my throat suddenly dry. Sir, I have come to ask for your blessing, to ask for a hand in marriage. A long silence followed. Our father's gaze remained steady, scrutinizing as if trying to find a hidden weakness. Then a slow, almost imperceptible shake of his head. Marriage? He mused, the word heavy with unspoken concern. It's a life built on a foundation, a future for our daughter. What kind of future can you truly offer her in your condition? His voice held a profound disappointment, a deep-seated fear for his child rather than outright scorn. Her mother finally looked up, her eyes glistering. This isn't just about love, is it? She whispered, her voice laced with worry. It's about a life of constant struggle of dependence. We only want what's best for her, for her happiness, for her security. Their words, though softer than I had anticipated, cut deeper than any insult. They weren't questioning my worth, but my capability, my very future. For a moment, the old fears, the echoes of permanent disability, maybe from the hospital, threatened to overwhelm me. Then a grip tightened, a fierce, defiant squeeze. You are wrong, Mom, she said, her voice clear and strong, without a hint of a tremor. He is the strongest man I know, stronger than anyone who has ever walked through that door. She turned to me, her eyes alight with an unwavering conviction that ignited a similar fire within me. Tell them now, she said. I reached into my pocket, my hand trembling, not from fear, but from the immense gravity and release of the moment. I pulled out the ring, its facets catching the dim light. I met her father's gaze, then her mother's, and finally Sarah's. My parents nodded their heads. I may not walk as I once did, I said, my voice gaining strength with each word. But I stand for Sarah. I stand for our future. And I promise to always stand by her, to love her, and to build a life with her filled with happiness. I held out the ring. Sarah, will you marry me? Tears welled in her eyes, spilling freely now. A soft, joyful sob escaped her lips. Yes, she breathed. The living room, moments ago thick with tension, suddenly felt lighter. As she took the ring, a profound stillness settled, as if time itself held its breath. In that instant, the wheelchair beneath me faded from my awareness. The lingering pains, the memories of paralysis, they all dissolved. All that remained was the luminous connection between us, a silent, powerful promise forged in defiance of doubt and fear. Everyone was there, family, friends, strangers who had become brothers. The engagement party buzzed, but I sat still, wheelchair beside me, ring on her finger. She leaned in. "You okay?" I nodded, but inside, my body trembled. I took a breath, then I stood. Gaps, tears, hands over mouth. Her hand flew to her chest. My God! I took a step, then another. The room blurred, but her smile stayed sharp. I reached her, held her close. "Thank you for waiting." Everyone clapped, cheered. That night, I didn't dream, I lived. Because I had risen, not just on legs, but on love, on persistence, on faith. I wasn't just a survivor, I was whole. You've heard my story, not one of perfect endings, but of real ones, of nights darker than fear, and morning brighter than dreams. If you are walking through something today, you are not alone. There is always a voice, a hand, a reason to try again. So don't count your losses. Count who stood by you. Count how far you've come. And remember, even if you can't run, you can still rise. If you feel like giving up, take one more step. If your dream is silent, speak to it anyway. And if you ever feel alone, reach out. Healing takes time. Faith takes patience. But love takes everything broken and makes it whole again. So tell your story. Let the world feel your eyes, because your voice might just be the hope someone else needs.